High-frequency trading has been all over the news of late, with many pointing the finger at the dangers and the faults of the system. My next guest argues that the system could actually benefit the average investor. Joining me now is Dan Greenshields. He is president of Capital One ShareBuilder, one of the largest financial institutions in America with over 45 million customers. That's a lot of customers. Thank you very much. Welcome to the News Hub.
Good morning, Simon.
So how can this possibly benefit? I mean, I remember the flash crash, and that was people pointed to high-frequency trading. They disappeared. The liquidity disappeared just when you needed it, and then we saw the stocks crashing. How does that benefit small traders?
Well, I think there's elements to this that benefit, and it's actually not new. Speculators have always been part of the market. They provide liquidity. They come in and they actually narrow the bid-ask spread. And I think people forget, it was about 10 years ago that we went away from fractions. Things used to trade in an eighth or a quarter or a half.
Oh, I remember that.
And we went to decimalization, and what's happening is the spread to trade stocks has come in massively. In fact, there's fewer
That's the difference between the buying and the selling price,
right.
and that means that it costs you less because you pay a commission, and then you also pay the difference.
That's correct. That's correct. And individual investors have quietly benefited from this. It's been really easy. Now, institutions that are doing large blocks of stock, the argument is that it's the market has gotten a lot thinner, i.e. if you're trading a big chunk of stock, it's harder to execute. And that may be true for institutions. So they've had to put resources at developing technologies to get better liquidity for their investors.
But if you're a small investor and you've got a big block of shares, that's a good problem to have, because it means you're uber rich.
Right. Well, it's not just buyers, right? We have people that are retiring every day that want to convert into an annuity or maybe buy some bonds, and so they're selling stocks. So if prices, you can't have it both ways. If it's more expensive for buyers, that means the seller is getting the benefit if spreads are narrower.
So let's go to, people are scared by this, and we've seen a lot of stuff in the news. We've got a lot of people talking, new book out saying it's rigged. What is your advice to small investors?
Well, look, there's always, unfortunately, this is a scandal. It's not new news. This is something that did happen a few years ago, and I think people are confusing front running, which is illegal, and the market regulator.
That's where you get an order. I get an order from you, and then I put my order in front of it.
Correct.
That's illegal.
For profit.
Yeah.
And that has always been illegal. There's been people that have been banned from the industry for life. There's been investigations, indictments, going back 100 years on this. It's not new. I mean, you go back to the telegraph. The telephone was new technology at one point, and then microwave, and now we're into fiber optics, and now we're into high-frequency trading. It's just an evolution of the market.
Now, you've got an investor survey, an investor sentiment survey. What are your people, your customers trading?
Look, first quarter was a really solid quarter for volumes. It's kind of the first time post-crisis that we've seen a nice increase in both dollar flows into the market and lots of activity. And I kind of like to say that I measure the activity they vote with their feet, with money.
They voted with their dollars there.
Right.
Apple and Facebook were big active. Sold on the Facebook side, and Apple massively traded there. These appeal to retail investors, don't they? Because they recognize the company and they understand what it does.
One thing that popped up is Tesla, which is, I think, really interesting. It's now a $25 billion market cap company, and it's one of our #1 traded stocks in the quarter. And what happened there is you have an American manufacturer that's really come up with a new product that's selling, and people are excited about it. So
they do seem to be. Thank you very much.
Thank
Dan
you, Simon.
Greenshields, president of Capital One ShareBuilder. We appreciate your time, sir.